If I'm being honest with myself now, the warning signs were there long before Christmas ever arrived. They just didn't look like warnings at the time. They looked like minor inconveniences, the kind married people are told to expect if they want longevity. Laura started traveling more for work, or at least that's what she said. Conferences popped up on her calendar with little notice. Weekend team retreats became common, and her phone became something she guarded without realizing how obvious it was. I noticed, of course, but I never confronted her directly. I didn't want to be the insecure husband, the man who interrogated his wife because she worked late or smiled at a text message. I told myself trust meant restraint, and restraint meant maturity. I had no idea how expensive that belief would become. Rachel and Brian were woven deeper into our lives during that period, almost as if proximity was part of the deception. Rachel called Laura constantly, and Brian started showing up to events Laura said I didn't need to attend. There were dinners I skipped because of work deadlines, family functions where Laura said it was just sisters or just business spouses, and I believed her because I had no reason not to. Brian would sometimes text me afterward, telling me I was missed, that Laura looked great, that I was a lucky guy. Those messages make my skin crawl now, but back then I read them as friendly gestures. I didn't understand that I was being managed, kept comfortable, and intentionally distracted while my own marriage was being dismantled behind my back. If you love ruthless revenge stories packed with shocking twists, like this video and subscribe now. New, never-before-seen stories are released here every day, each more intense than the last. By the time December rolled around, our marriage had developed a quiet coldness that neither of us addressed. We still shared a bed, still attended events as a couple, still smiled for photos, but intimacy had become procedural, almost polite. Laura was present but unreachable, affectionate but distant, as if she were already practicing a future where I didn't exist in the same emotional space. I blamed myself for not trying harder, for working too much, for assuming that love could run on autopilot if the bills were paid and the house was clean. I didn't know she was already investing her energy elsewhere, building something secret and destructive while I was still maintaining what I thought we both wanted to preserve. Christmas had always been important to Rachel, so it wasn't unusual when she insisted we all spend it together that year. She planned everything meticulously, from the guest list to the seating arrangement, from the menu to the timing of gift exchanges. She framed it as a way to bring everyone closer, to celebrate family, to slow down after a long year. Laura seemed unusually enthusiastic about it, which I interpreted as a good sign, proof that whatever distance I felt between us was temporary. I even took time off work, something I rarely did during end-of-year reporting season, because I wanted to be present. I wanted to fix what I thought was broken, not knowing it had already been replaced. The house Rachel and Brian lived in was large, tastefully decorated, the kind of place designed to impress without looking like it tried too hard. When we arrived that Christmas morning, everything looked perfect. The tree was tall and glowing. The smell of food filled the air, and holiday music played softly in the background. Laura held my hand, smiled at me, and kissed my cheek, and for a moment I allowed myself to believe that I had been wrong about everything, that maybe stress had distorted my perception, that love was still intact, and that this holiday would reset us. I didn't know that the setting had been carefully chosen, that the timing was intentional, and that the truth was about to be delivered in the most public, humiliating way possible. As we settled in with drinks and conversation, I noticed tension that didn't quite make sense. Rachel was unusually quiet, watching Laura and Brian with a focus that felt sharp rather than affectionate. Brian avoided my eyes more than usual, and Laura seemed hyper-aware where everyone was at all times. I assumed it was holiday stress, family dynamics, nothing more. I had no idea that Rachel had already reached her breaking point, that she had discovered something she couldn't unsee, and that she had chosen Christmas as the stage for her revelation. I was still a husband who believed in his marriage, a man who trusted his wife, and a fool who didn't know that within hours, everything I thought I knew would be stripped away. What happened next didn't just expose an affair. It exposed who people really were when cornered by truth. It exposed how long I've been lied to, how deeply I've been underestimated, and how dangerous it is to assume that quiet men are weak men. That Christmas didn't just end my marriage. It ignited something in me that I didn't know existed yet. Something patient, calculated, and unforgiving. And while I didn't understand at the time, that day was not the moment I lost everything. It was the moment I stopped being the man they thought they could destroy. I still remember the exact second the room changed. Even before a single word was spoken, we had just finished dinner. Plates cleared, glasses refilled, the soft and holiday music filling the pauses in conversation.